Boom! We just entered for a long position right here. We are pretty much betting that price is gonna go straight to the moon, all the way up to this 209.95 level right here. Right, so pretty much what happened was that London session opened about an hour ago, and we had a lot of fake outs, we had a lot of like false movements right here, a lot of false alarms right here. Price is just chopping, not really knowing its direction, and then later on price actually broke to the upside, and then pretty much waited for price to pull back to the most recent demand zone, the most recent 5-minute demand zone, so that I could ride the bullish internal order flow, right? And then waited for price to swap some liquidity below these lows right here, and that is then I waited for bullish confirmation to tell me that it's time to go, it's go time, and that is where we got in for the buy position right here. And our stop loss is quite aggressive, it's just like right below these lows right here. Pretty much just going to be targeting this next 5-minute supply zone right here, right? So this would be a pretty nice trade if it plays out in the way I envision it to play out. Oh, it's about to pump, it's about to pump. You know, this thing is just like a rocket, man. It's like trying to get some fuel right now. It's struggling to get off the ground, but once it gets off the ground, it's just gonna pump straight into space like nothing, right? It's gonna defy gravity and it's gonna come all the way up here. The reason why I know for a fact that the price action to here is going to be quite smooth is because if you look at the left hand side, there's not much resistance, right? Price just collapsed all the way down, which means there's a lot of imbalance right here, and we all know that when there's so much imbalance on the left hand side, price tends to fill up the imbalance to come back into balance at this next supply zone right here. Alright, so as we wait for price to hit TP, I'm gonna drop some gems as usual, you know, just make sure that you don't actually ignore what I'm about to share with you, alright? Because this shit could potentially change your life. A lot of traders out here think that their problem is discipline. They say to themselves, oh, I'm lazy, I'm emotional, I keep breaking my trading rules, I can't seem to follow my trading plan, maybe I'm too dumb. But what if that's not the real problem? What if it's not because you're not undisciplined, but rather it's because you have been programmed? 95% of your day is literally ran by your subconscious mind. Whether you realize it or not, your brain is simply a computer that runs programs. And most of your programs were installed into you long before you even open TradingView, long before you even reach the age of 8 years old. Your reactions to money, your reaction to loss, uncertainty, being wrong, and missing out. All of these patterns that you tend to repeat, those are not you in the moment. Those are simply just a form of conditioning. And the market is the perfect place to expose this, right? Because the market doesn't care about your intention. It doesn't care about, you wanting to become a ultra successful trader. It only triggers your wiring. It only press play on the programs that is in your mind, that is in your computer. So when you close a trade early, that's a program. When you hesitate on a perfect setup, that's a program. When you overtrade after a loss, that's a program. You essentially have a virus that is within your software. And if you don't fix it, you will continue letting that virus ruin the entire software. You will continue getting the same results over and over again until you decide to take back control, until you decide to start reprogramming your mind. And a lot of these traders out here are trying to use their willpower to fight a program that's been running for 20 years. Since the time you were born till the age of around 7 years old, this is where your brain is the most receptive to information, right? And whatever information that you were exposed to you by society, by your environment, by your teachers, by your family, basically your external environment, you start to believe those information. So if you see your dad, quarreling with your mom, now you believe that that's how a dad is supposed to be behaving to your mom. Another example is that when you're in the classroom and your friend got A and you got C, your teacher say good job to the friend who got A. Now you have been conditioned to try to get the straight A, right? So you can get your teacher's attention and validation. And you can see all of those information, right? They turn into belief. And when they turn into belief, they turn into programs. So if you try to use willpower to fight a program that's been running for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, It's like trying to stop a train with your hands. You can't do it, right? You simply can't do it. The only way to actually get rid of the program is to reprogram your mind, is to replace the limiting belief with the empowering belief. That's the only way. So there are 3 ways. Right, before I tell you about how to actually reprogram your mind, let me just look at how my trade is doing right here. So obviously, we are trying to take profit all the way up here. Let's just see what price does. Right, let's see whether it continue going up. If it does, that'll be perfect. Like at this point of time, I'm just thinking about what could possibly go wrong, right? Because we got this is the last internal break of structural, and then since then there's another like this supply zone right here, which is kind of insignificant. Let me just look at what price does. Yeah, that's definitely like an insignificant supply zone, right? There's a very high chance that price is just going to continue going up there. So I'm just going to continue holding on to the position itself. So back to the topic of reprogramming, right? This is something that I've learned from Bruce Lipton, right? So shout out to Bruce Lipton. There are basically 3 main ways to change the subconscious program and to rewire your mind, to change your belief. The first way is what he described as self-hypnosis. Now, your subconscious learns best, absorb information faster, memorize things much better when you're in what they call a theta state. There are different states of mind that you can go through. When you are working, you are in stress, you are probably in the beta state. And then when you start to relax and wind down after your 9-to-5 job, you are potentially transitioning into alpha state. And then right before you sleep, right, this is where you start transitioning into theta state. That's basically like the slow and relaxed brain state that you're in right before you fall asleep or right after you wake up. Okay, so what you want to do is to essentially hypnotize yourself, right? To install new belief into your subconscious mind. And what you can potentially do is to listen, right? Like literally play something empowering, play like a self-improvement video or podcast, whatever, and you just listen to it as you fall asleep. And within these first few hours in which you fell asleep, this is where your brain will be absorbing the information from like these self-improvement videos or all of these videos, right? Maybe you could watch my videos, you could watch my podcast before you fall asleep. That'll be crazy. And this is where you'll be using the right information to train your mind, right? So for example, if you're listening to one of my podcast episodes, right? The Traders Code episode. And in the episode, I'm saying things like, you gotta change your identity before you can change your P&L. You gotta start to become more focused on executing the trade plan rather than the outcome. As you listen to this while you fall asleep, you're essentially hypnotizing yourself to believe that. You're essentially letting this information enter into the subconscious mind. So tomorrow when you wake up, right, once again, like it's not like something that happens overnight. It might require you to like hypnotize yourself for like a few days in a row. But like over a few days of doing this or a few weeks after doing this is where you start to believe in the stuff that were like indoctrinated into your mind for the past few days. Right, so you start to believe that, oh yes, Brad is right. Change your identity and you'll change your P&L, right? Brad is right when you say that, you want to focus on the process, not the outcome. And now you start to behave in accordance with your belief, the new belief system that you have acquired. And that's the first way. The first way is self-hypnosis, and it's all about deliberately entering into that receptive state where you're open to new information and installing a new script, installing a new belief system in your subconscious mind. And this is why people listen to subliminals and people do affirmations or manifestations. They're pretty much trying to condition their mind with new belief systems, new empowering systems that actually move them closer towards their goals. The second way is repetition. Now, to me, this is my favorite way to reprogram myself. The basis of this method is the fact that if you can have bad habits, you can have good habits as well. And the secret to eliminating bad habits is not to remove them completely, but rather replace them with good habits. It's like instead of eating the junk food, you actually eat clean food which tastes good, right? So it's replacing off the habit itself. And a habit isn't just what you do. A habit is a set of automatic, unconscious thoughts, behaviors, and emotions you have wired into yourself through repetition. The key word here is repetition, right? So if you want to build a good habit, you need to do the same thing over and over again for an extended period of time, right? So you need volume plus time. So it's showing up every single day, waking up at the same time, executing the same trade plan, following the same process, looking at the same charts, and you do that over and over again until it becomes automatic, right? Until it becomes second nature to just scan the charts and look for your trading opportunities that is in accordance with your trade plan. So remember, your subconscious is like a recorder. It learns through constant repetition, not logic, not telling it information for the first time round. You have to do the same thing over and over again till that thing get embedded into your subconscious mind. Now, the last method is something called energy psychology, according to Bruce. But I like to call it emotion transmutation. Okay, so hypnosis works if it gets you into a super learning state. And repetition works because it slowly installs a new habit. But emotion transmutation is completely different, right? It's not something that takes time to do. It's something that you can do right now. It's like a shortcut that helps the brain enter into the right state of mind fast, right? So that you can do the right thing at the right time without needing years of willpower or discipline. So as time passes, I realized that most of my trading mistakes aren't a logic problem. It's not because I don't know what to do. It's not because I don't know how to analyze the charts. It's not because I don't have a good strategy. But rather it's because of the fact that most of my trading mistakes, they are simply a subconscious safety program. Now, let me explain. When you're in a heat of a trade, like let's say right now I'm in this position over here, okay, and then price starts going against me. Price starts coming into the red right here. So at this point of time, my conscious mind knows what to do. Is to follow the plan, continue holding the trade. But now the subconscious mind takes over the body. Now it essentially runs my actions. And now my fight or flight instinct kicks in, right? Now my limiting beliefs start kicking in. And it starts to tell my body, yo, Brad, you gotta get out of the trade, man. If you don't get out of the trade, you're gonna lose. And if you're gonna lose, you're going to go broke. And if you go broke, you're gonna die, right? So it catastrophizes this failure. It catastrophizes this loss itself. And when that happens, it's out of your control. Once again, your conscious mind knows exactly what to do, knows that you should go on to the trade and just continue being detached from the outcome and just let the trade do its thing. But the subconscious mind override the conscious mind. And as a result, you get out of this trade right here. So energy psychology is basically about changing the program behind the reaction. It's not just about fighting the reaction, but changing the program behind the reaction. So in order for you to do this method, requires you to do something called a balance, which is basically like a posture and breathing pattern, which is meant to sync both your left hemisphere and your right hemisphere into a whole brain state. And once you're in that state, it's so much more easier for you to install a new belief, right? Because once again, the subconscious is more receptive to information. And in order for you to do this exercise, here's a few steps, right? You want to sit down and cross your ankles, right? You can literally cross your ankles just like this. And then what you want to do is to bring your palms together, just like what I'm doing right now, and just cross the wrist and clasp the finger. And when you do this, you want to slowly inhale through the nose. When you slowly inhale through the nose, you let your breath leave your body, and then you slowly exhale and you relax your body. What happens is that now your left and right hemisphere of the brain is in sync. Okay, because if you just move your right arm just like this, maybe the left hemisphere is active. Or if you move your left arm just like this, maybe the right hemisphere is active. But now when you really cross both your limbs, your hands and your ankles, what happens is that you are literally coordinating both the left and right hemisphere. And when you do that, you are in a state of synchronicity, you are in a state of coherence. And this is where your subconscious mind is open to reprogramming. So basically, if your issue is that you're repeating the same emotional patterns, the same emotional loop over and over again, you don't need a better strategy. You need a better subconscious program. That's it. And this is how you build a better subconscious program. How you can reprogram your mind so that you can actually become a completely different person who can get completely different results. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. We are almost hitting TP right then, literally As simple as that, like, guys. I swear, bro, this gotta be the best feeling ever, bro. Holy moly, holy moly. Oh, we good. We about to reach it. We about to reach it. There we go. We're about to take it home, ladies and gentlemen. Right, we're about to take it home, man. Oh my god, this trade was actually insane. Holy freaking shit, that was ridiculously fast. Price has literally went all the way up there without going into the red. Like, look at this. I'm very surprised by how smooth this trade was, right? Like, when price went up there, it kind of went a little bit back in here, right? But luckily, we got a little bit of breathing room when it comes to our stop loss. If you place it like right here, we would have been F, right? But like, it was like around here. Man, this is what you get with GJ, man. Sometimes it kicks your ass, sometimes it keys your ass, right? And today is one of those times where it kissed my ass. All right, kiss my ass goodbye, GJ. I'm telling you, we're about to get out soon. All right, price about to hit TP in what, like 10 minutes-ish? But yeah, man, like, this is just how the market works, man. If you guys fundamentally understand how the market works, you are like halfway there. The other half requires you to reprogram your mind. And thankfully, I've spent the first 6 years of my trading journey mastering the technicals, right? Getting very competent at analyzing the charts. And then I spent the most recent 3 years just reprogramming my mind, right? Just removing the limiting belief that do not serve me, and just overall transcending, right? Transcending into the professional trader. And nowadays, I think, I act, I feel like a professional trader, and I get the results of a professional trader. And it's all thanks to Edgeflow. Ta-da-da-da, Edgeflow. Edgeflow is the MVP, man. Oh, let's go. Let me just zoom in here a little bit for you guys to see. This is the most satisfying thing ever, man. To see price just go up straight to your TP just like this with barely any drawdown. The old me would have been like scared out of the trade, like somewhere around here when price start consolidating. This is where my old limiting self would be like, oh my god, no, price about to reverse. I need to get out right here to secure my profits. We smash our TP. You hear that? You hear that? That's edge flow right there, man. That's the sound of us smashing TP on this beautiful trade. Oh my goodness. I just realized that because of spreads, right, we ended up like hitting take profit somewhere around here. Oh wait, no, this is where I placed my take profit. Yeah, I placed it at a 209.9 level. I placed it there flat because it was like a psychological level. So I placed it right here. Explains why I smashed my TP, right? But, you know, just a few pips, who cares? Anyways, there we have it, guys. One of the biggest, which is actually, that's a freaking big trade right here. This is a humongous trade, okay? I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it, but this was like a 1:10R trade. Like this, honestly, I think this is the best trade I've ever taken in my entire lifetime. It's so freaking rare for me to catch like a 1:10R trade, and I freaking did it in this live trading session, right? You know, we did it today. We brought it back home, right? I was wondering like, why is the P&L so freaking humongous? And I realized that this was like a 1:10R trade. So I was still risking my usual amount of money, right, around like 50K-ish, and 10 times of that. That's actually a monstrous P&L, huh? Pretty monstrous P&L. God damn. I'm good, bro. I'm not trading for the rest of this year, man. I'm not trading for the rest of this month, man. I'm not giving back these profits back to the market. No, sir. I'm keeping every single dollar of this shit, man. And I'm gonna journal. I don't feel like journaling right now, actually. Because like, I just make so much fucking money. Why the hell do I need to journal? You see, that's my inner voice speaking. That's the program, the old programming speaking. And you need to conquer the old programming. You need to conquer the old self, right? You need to say, yo, get your shit on, man. The new programming says that we gotta journal no matter how much money we make or lose. So we do it. And we suck every single fucking day. That's it, mate. Holy fuck, man, like this is actually the perfect time to be making such a huge amount of money, because like next week is literally Chinese New Year, which means that I need to give ang bao to my parents, my relative and all that shit. And now Mr. Market is paying for Chinese New Year, right? I'm not gonna be the one giving the ang bao, man. Mr. Market is giving the ang bao, right? So if you're my relative and you receive like a big ass ang bao, like a big ass red packet from me, thank Mr. Market. Do not thank me, man. But hell yeah!